Hey, everybody, welcome back to Variant Intel, a Deadrop podcast brought to you by myself, HELMETFIRE, and today's special guest is Metamora. He is a Deadrop content creator and composer. And yeah, how are you doing today, man?
Hey, I'm great, man. How's it going, everyone? Glad to be here. Super stoked. Appreciate you inviting me.
Yeah, no problem at all. Look, so in previous episodes we've had a guest on by the name of William Morris. He's also a composer who does some really sick music in the
Yeah.
Dead Drop space. And then recently, pardon me, recently, with Mayor Reynolds' live action project, I've been noticing your name come up a lot more. So it's so cool to see, and we're definitely going to get into that. But before we do, let's give the community, since at least for me, you're a name that's a new one that I've been seeing lately, and I'm sure a lot of other community members are interested. So give us a little bit of your background, and who's Metamora and what are you all about?
Right. For sure. I mean, I don't know where to start. I mean, how deep do you want to go on the
Oh,
rabbit hole?
that's up to
But
you. I mean, just the basics. We usually just do a quick
so
whatever you're
sure.
comfortable with.
As far as basics, basically a Florida boy. Grew up here in South Florida my whole life. Big
Nice.
party city. So music was a big thing for me growing up. Melting pot, all kinds of cultures, ideas, sounds, a lot of parties.
Yeah.
So you get kind of immersed in that world. A lot of clubs. Obviously, I used to be a club promoter for a little while. So music was always there. Uh, Electronic, hip hop, Spanish music, Caribbean.
Ooh,
Really big down here.
I love it.
So, it was funny, I really didn't get into music production until way later in my life. Uh, it was like I always tried different things that interested me, uh, but then one day I just decided to take the plunge into making beats. I was actually DJing before that for parties and stuff, but then I wanted to take it to the next level and try to make my own stuff, and I just fell in love with it ever since. So,
No, that's
yeah.
awesome, man. And yeah, from what I've heard so far, man, I'm getting really impressed. And it, with the Dead Drop community is so cool because we have even this early in the game's development, we
Mhm.
already are seeing so many talented people of all different
Oh, yeah.
disciplines, not just music, of course. And then some episodes ago when I got to meet and interview William, it was very much like this episode here where I just saw on Twitter one day he was creating something, and then I said, "Oh man, I want to interview this guy, and I want the community to get to know him better." And so that's what I wanted to do here. Um, and where I saw your work first was with Mayor Reynolds' live action project, which
Mhm.
we've had Mayor on the show before, and he's doing some really cool stuff with his live action. He's having a blast with it. So, tell me about, like, how did you and Mayor find each other? How did that whole business relationship start up, if you will, if you want to call it
Right.
that?
So, it's actually been pretty recent. I would
Mm.
pop up in his live streams, talk here and there. I'm actually good friends. You've had him on before, Spaceman.
Oh, cool.
So
Okay.
I've known him for a good while now. That kid's a wizard, man. That
Yeah,
kid,
he's a cool guy, man.
that kid is going places, man. I tell you, he's too smart for us. We're lucky to
Okay,
have him in
okay.
the community. But so and he would be in the chats too, and we would talk. And then I would just, I believe I messaged him about it that, hey, and I was talking to William too, and I think maybe William put in a word for me or something like that. But then at some point, Mayor reached out. Before that, actually, in the early days when everyone was getting their variants, um, I was doing, I guess you could say, like little samples, little loops for everyone's profiles. I would add an animation to it, like a
Oh,
simple
cool.
animation with their name on it, like in a glitchy text, and I would do that for a couple people. So some people started to notice that and started hitting me up to do one for them. They were like 10, 20-second like melodies, like synthwave melodies. I did some for for the devs as well. I think only Quinn was the one that noticed and said something about it, but still, it was still a
Hey,
fun
man.
project to do.
Yeah, shout
Yeah,
out to Quinn, man. Quinn
yeah,
is the king of shouting out community members, and I would know that firsthand. So shout
yeah,
out to
for
Quinn,
sure.
man.
So and that was my first attempt really into that style of synthwave because I've been
Hmm.
messing with synthwave a little bit, but this is more like darker, grittier,
Hmm.
and that's fun to tackle. Especially that's a far cry from what I grew up listening to, which is all happy, upbeat, hyper, totally different. So, And then he just hit me up. I sent him some samples. Mayor hit me up, and I sent him some ideas that I was working on already, kinda Deadrop inspired, and he told me which ones he really liked. And funny enough, the 2 that he really liked were not done. They were just blueprints of an idea. So I was
Okay.
like, "Okay, I gotta hunker down, put everything to the side, grind time, and just try to do this for him, do it right." And so I kinda, built it from there, kinda made it so it fits what he was doing. And, he liked them, so I was really happy about that. So and I'm glad to hear that, you like them too, and I'm
Oh
seems like
yeah.
everyone else is enjoying it, so
No,
that makes me
dude.
really happy.
So for me personally, I can only speak for myself in this regard, but any type of whether it's a video game or a movie or anything, the music is always for me the core that helps unlock the potential of the
Right.
experience, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like for me personally, the music in something, whether it's a game or whatever, is the thing that like if a story is being attempted to be told through a movie or a show or whatever, like when a storyteller is trying to tell a story, they're trying to convey those emotions with the characters that they present or whatever else. But the thing that pushes that to the forefront to me is the music.
Right.
You case in point, if you watched any kind of movie or show and just removed all the music, it'd be like, what's wrong? Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Like this doesn't make sense. And so,
You're missing the emotion a little bit there.
yeah, yeah. So like the music is so integral to me personally when I'm consuming media of any kind. And with Mayor's project specifically, I think the music is one area where he, as whether he's the director or the writer or however he's producing this project and all the help he's getting with his team,
Mhm.
whoever the decision makers are on getting that feel of the music with you and William, as they're doing a great job. And obviously, you guys' product speaks for itself. I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm enjoying his project more because of the music, if that makes sense. And
Mm.
that's just one man's opinion, of course, but it's interesting. It takes what you would look at as a fan made project and really helps take it to another level, because again, music is the thing that to me unlocks the potential in a project, right? So
Right.
I
Kinda grounds it
really,
all together.
yeah, yeah. So I really appreciate what guys like yourself are doing for whether it's a fan made project like this, or maybe with UGC coming out, there's going to be some other projects that will present opportunities. And like you said,
Yeah, I'm so excited for
um,
that.
you and I were talking offline earlier, and this is a good segue. Um, you mentioned some ideas that you were talking with William about
Mhm.
in regards to something that you think would be cool to be in Dead Drop. Like, tell me a little bit more about
Right.
that.
So it's funny because he kinda had the same idea too when we were talking, and, again, shout outs to him. He really once I saw, what he was doing, he really made me, like, step up, so I wanna give a just another big shout out to him because he inspired me to really hunker down and try to make really good music for, Mayor. But, we had this idea because we figured, and I guess everyone else figured that there's a good chance we were gonna have vehicles in some shape or form into the next snapshot. So we had this idea, like, what if we just make music or have the music we already have, add on to it, and try to create like a variant radio station that everyone
That'd be
can
so
use
sick.
in the game. Also use it offline whenever they want, have it downloadable for people too. So that's kind of an idea we had as well, aside from some other projects we were talking about. But as far as Dead Drop goes, that's we think that would be really cool. That we can provide the community with more stuff, and then we can get a gauge of what they like, maybe what they don't like, or what fits that snapshot more, depending how the vehicle system is going to be in the game, the gameplay, and we can just work around that and make more content for that.
No, that sounds awesome, man. So, for those listening, and maybe you're just tuning in for the first time, we are on the cusp of Snapshot 7, which is going to have a huge live reveal event in Las Vegas on October 20th. And a lot of us are going to be there in attendance. But one of the biggest features that's coming to the game is this car mechanic. It's the introduction of a vehicle that is, we know for sure, will be customizable,
Hmm.
but like how it's going to be used in the game is still a huge mystery. A lot of us think it's going to be some kind of like Twisted Metal meets Death Race type of mechanic, and maybe it's like a pre-lobby mini game of some kind. I mean, there's a lot of ideas floating around out there, but there's not been official teases as to what this actually is going to be. And But we're all excited, and I do love the idea of like a radio station. I mean, this is something we've been seeing in games like GTA for years and years
Yeah,
and years. I mean, Bethesda games have had it.
yeah.
Um,
Cyberpunk did it as well
Cyberpunk did
too.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like there's, it's a pretty common thing, and it's like, yeah, why not have something with Deadrop where you have this royalty free, community made synthwave just album or whatever. And I really hope that that becomes a reality.
yeah,
And
same.
even if it's not something that the developers code in directly, it's something that I would presume would be available via UGC, which user generated content, or the UGC application, is something that is poised to also launch with Snapshot 7. Not
Mhm.
100% confirmed, but like 99%.
Yeah, it seems
Um,
like it.
yeah, they've hinted at it. Rob's hinted at it, extensively, and we all know that it's a big core component of what Midnight Society wants to provide to its community. So one way or another, I think you guys are going to succeed in your goal of creating music and or radio station stuff that can be used in the game somehow, maybe via the car, which I think would just be the perfect thing ever. Oh, by the way, if y'all want any kind of like movie voice or a radio host voice, I'll submit my applications. I would love to be like, tune in to 95.5 Dead
Hey,
Drop,
man, yeah, that's a thing, yeah, that'd be cool too, just get some people involved in that, yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
like
awesome.
sign
Do,
me
like,
up, man. I'll
the news of, like, what's going on,
Yeah.
whatever. That'd be
Or
hilarious.
like some kind of like radio news broadcast, 20-second
Yeah.
snippets or whatever, like the the streets and the existence run wild
Uh-huh.
this Friday.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I love it, man, and I'm so excited at the music you guys are creating. And so kind of like we talked about UGC a second ago, this is such a big topic. We've been talking about this previous episodes, and I like to ask all of the guests that come on is like, is there anything with UGC, like it? Obviously, your music is a priority, but like, is there anything else with UGC that you're kind of interested in or that you're looking forward to seeing?
Um, you know what? This kinda goes with the whole vehicle driving aspect of it, but if
Hmm.
we can or if someone can create, like, a lobby where we do, like, the car meets since we're gonna have the vehicles, and that could be like its own separate lobby somewhere in the world, make it more accurate, create like a space where we could all hang out. If we're gonna have customizable cars, might as well be able to show it off, and not just on streams or on videos, but while we're playing with our friends, have like a spot where we meet and then we all load up into a game or something like that. That'd be a cool idea that kind of goes with the whole vehicle aspect of it. I was thinking about that one a lot lately. So
Yeah, I
that's
do know.
my main
So
one.
we do know that the hideout, the player hideout, like, Rob and a lot of Midnight Society have said in, this past year multiple times that like the hideout is the goal that they're shooting for, is that it's like a communal space where you can invite your friends and show off your cosmetics collections, whatever
Yeah, the
you've
cortexes and
collected.
all that too.
So and we know the garage will be part of that. So um but yeah, I think I would love to see that. Okay, here's what the developers gave us, but like the community, if they choose, can use UGC to like add to that experience.
Hmm.
I'm almost certain that'll be the case. The goal of UGC is to empower the community to add to the dead drop experience, right? So yeah, I think that would be really cool. I definitely want to have like, I want some stuff out of like OG Fast and Furious where I have this garage with like three or four, cars, and like
Right.
they're all kitted out and like,
Yeah, like in GTA or something like that, yeah.
yeah, GTA or what I think Forza does it a little bit, but maybe
Yeah,
it's
Need for Speed, Forza,
Need for
that
Speed,
style.
yeah. Yeah, I
Having
think
just
Need
that
for
sick
Speed
garage.
series would do that a lot with the customization. So
Yeah.
um so for you it's really like the garage and the car and the hideout.
Yeah, I mean, because I
Mhm.
kinda just grew up a little bit on racing games too, a lot of Need for Speed and stuff like that, so to have this in the game as well, just to have all that implemented, because I love customizing, uh, you know, especially character, car, ships, whatever it may be. I always have a fun time with that. So I think that would work perfectly with what's going on with the next snapshot.
Yeah. So it is in Las Vegas, this snapshot. They're doing a live event. They're doing I want to talk a little bit about predictions here because and I've
Uh-huh.
been doing this a lot lately too. So like we know like two really big things for sure we know they're going to push. They're going to push the car and they're going to push UGC.
Mhm.
Beyond that, what are your ideas and speculations?
Well, I don't know if we'll get another location, as far as, a battlegrounds, because we just got this one and this one's pretty big. I would like to see if we don't get it. I'm okay with these two. They're great, especially the second one. Really cool, really well done. I don't mind if they at least start adding stuff into those uh battlegrounds, start adding more textures,
Hmm.
uh maybe even a little bit more optimization. But as far as new features goes, um I'm not too sure because the cleaners was a big thing too. For me right now, I think if there's a way where we can, I think Doc said this at some point in the stream before too, where we could take the vehicles and drive it to the tower or something like that. If
Hmm.
that's also included, then I'm happy with that. I would like to see customization of our characters.
Hmm.
If not in this snapshot, at least a tease for it on the next one. As much as we all love the flowing, dripping ponytails that all our
Yeah.
guys are rocking, it'd be cool to at least maybe, because they're always randomizing the clothes. It'd be cool to just start customizing that a little bit, especially if we're gonna have lobbies soon. Just to start having a little bit more variation and uniqueness. I mean, we have our visor cortexes, but you know, I think just adding a little bit more customization would be fun to see. Like I said, I'm a big customization guy, so I love all that kind of stuff. So that's really
Yeah.
what I want to start seeing from here on out, and maybe just adding a little bit more things to the maps we already have.
Yeah.
That's my big thing.
Customization is, I know, again, this is something they've definitely talked about and are interested in doing, which is great. Um, I like the idea of like not, it's interesting. Like, I maybe I'm the weirdo here, but like, I don't need to customize the look of my character so much because of
Mm,
like for me, I feel like I'm always going to be wearing a mask or a helmet. So
right.
instead, like the customization, and I'm not saying I don't want those
Uh-huh.
customizations. I'm down for any level that they want to go to, just for
Hmm.
transparency here. But I'm really interested in like, yo, what kind of clothes can I wear? What kind of armor? What kind of helmets? Uh, and like the characters have these like really nice looking like I don't know what kind of shoes they are, Adidas or I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
they're real
Rocking some
clean looking
sneakers.
sneakers. Like
Yeah,
they look like collectible type stuff,
yeah.
and then the variants have the hoodies, so
Hmm.
like they have this really interesting streetwear stuff going on, right? I don't know if it's necessarily an 80s aesthetic like the universe is built in, but either way, I mean, to me, it's like, hey, character customization, I think, is allowed to live outside the lore of a given world because, it's
Right.
just a character creation, right? Like,
Especially if
let,
it's just gonna be like in the lobbies that you see, like just clothes,
yeah, it's like let's
cosmetics.
let's have fun with it, man. Go crazy,
Yeah.
right? But but character customization, as much as I do want that, I think I've talked about this in Friday Night Dead Drops and stuff. Where like for me, I hope they lean into the loot a lot more. Um,
Right.
but if we're talking predictions, I've talked with many community members about this, and one prediction I have, and a lot of people have, is like we think that, like you said, maybe they don't give us another sector, but like maybe they make Sector 3 and Proving Grounds 2, which I'm guessing will be Sector 2, um, like connected. So like when you drop in, because
Mm,
the goal, and Rob has said this directly, like the goal of Dead Drop is once they get all 7 sectors, the idea is when you load into a match, you load into and have all 7 in a match connected that you could
right.
traverse between in one match. So I'm
Right.
hoping that sector 2 and 3 will be connected in a single match and you can traverse between them in a single match. Like that's if they can do that, cuz that to me is like what the true gameplay loop is supposed to be for Dead Drop.
Right.
And I feel like with 7, especially with much marketing they're going to put behind this live event, I have a feeling that that might be one of the things that they do.
Yeah, and maybe since you can extract on the first one, you take that lift, and in the other one, let's say if you miss the first extraction, now you have to go to the other building and try to go through all that to
Yeah.
get to that extraction. Unless you don't open the doors to get out that way or take the
Yeah.
choppers, but
Or maybe
that'd
like
be
the
cool.
deep freeze is coming but see, and this is another question that I've talked about with Spaceman and a lot of other community members where it's like, how like this is a tower, right? So it's a huge vertical tower in the grand scheme of things. Now it's so huge and wide, like
Mhm.
things could be connected in many different configurations. So I'm personally curious, like if they're going to end up connecting all these sectors, like where do they connect? It's not just going to be stacked up on top of each other.
Right.
Like it might be staggered or offset or, and it's like, I wonder how they're going to do that, especially where it pertains to the shutdown mechanics. Like sector 3 has the deep freeze, right? And it
Mhm.
rises from the bottom of that sector to the top. Well, what if like sector 2 is connected to it to the side? And it's like, okay, you got to like get out through the
Right, so
side,
you go
or
up
if you
side,
or if
go
you don't
up.
make it fast enough, you have to take the mega lift up out of the top, right?
Right,
So
yeah.
I think it
'Cause I think
creates
the
this.
whole thing is just supposed to be under one big mega structure, right? Ideally, I guess.
Yeah,
That's the lore of it. Like, everything's just supposed to be in one giant thing. So, that makes sense doing it that way. I could see that. That'd
yeah.
be really
So
cool.
so I'm curious, like, how are they going to connect the sectors and where and what configuration, and so I hope we get to see those answers get fulfilled with this snapshot amongst all the other stuff that. Now, one thing that definitely has me excited is like with each snapshot, they've really over delivered.
Mhm.
They really go all out, and so I'm sure whatever 7 brings is just going to be probably crazy, man. Like I think we're all ready for it at this point,
Yeah, I
and
already know there's gonna be stuff that I'm sure no one's predicted or expected. There was
yeah.
something you mentioned earlier that I was curious. You got me thinking about it, and I kind of want to get your take on it. It was the looting system. Uh, what specifically? You're talking about like as far as when we're looting crates or what we have in our inventory, or just a different way to loot items?
Looting to me, well, what I mentioned earlier was like I hope that they diversify the loot pool, like expand on how many guns there are, how many attachments, and things like that. But to answer your question with looting, I know that looting is, that's a key item that the studio knows about, that they know the community would love to see iterated on. Me personally, I I think this is a interesting. I think it's a two-pronged thing because I think it also depends on if you're mouse and keyboard or controller. Um, Mouse and keyboard is a lot easier to loot than controller is currently.
Hmm.
Um, I think that's just like that'll be fixed in time. As they
Yeah.
develop the game, I'm not worried about it. Um, but I, like most of the community, would love to see the looting system improved a little bit. I don't mind the way they have it now. The only thing I would say I would change is like how there's a delay in opening a crate. Like you can find something laying on the ground and just pick it up, but if you
Hmm.
open a crate, it like takes a second, and then there's this animation, and so that's extra time that you're vulnerable. That ideal plays into what the studio's vision for the game is like they're really heavy on the risk versus reward,
Right. Right. It's a
and I'm
gamble.
okay with that, but like even if I can open something instantly, I'm still looting, so there's still vulnerability there. So I don't personally feel that it's necessary to add 1 to 2 seconds of animation before I can even start the looting process. I think it's kind of like unnecessary delta scaling, if that
Uh
makes
huh.
sense. Like delta scaling, for those that don't know, is like increasing the difficulty on a game just and like if you want to make an encounter, like in say Destiny, right? I want to make an encounter more difficult. Well, rather than creating new mechanics, you just make the boss's hit points more or something like
Yeah.
that,
Or
right?
throw more NPCs into the mix.
Yeah, like or
Right.
you make your character do less damage, and that's how they make the difficulty harder. Like that's delta scaling. Like that's not.
Hmm.
So like to me, having more seconds loading before I get to loot is, I think it's unnecessary. That's just one man's opinion, of course.
Uh huh. I get what
So
you're saying.
so like the general speed of looting, I'm fine with. I think on controller it needs work. Everybody knows that. I'm sure that's coming. I'm not even worried about that. But I think the opening of crates I don't see it necessary. I think it's just like added delay to, you know,
Mhm.
I mean, because if you're like Doc who loves to loot,
Yeah.
and he's gonna sit in there for like a couple of minutes, literally, right?
Yeah.
Like, why add the extra couple seconds? So that's probably my only, as far as looting goes right now.
Uh-huh.
Um, that would be my only ask. I think, you know, even the loot system itself is still being iterated on. Like you saw from Snapshot 5, right? We still had items that were fitting in the blocks the way Tarkov or Diablo does, right?
Yeah.
And with this Snapshot 6, they changed that completely, right? Now it's on like a point system. Like a sniper takes up so many points of space, and you don't really
Right.
get to see the blocks and everything. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see this iterated on a lot more as time goes on.
Right. I just had another idea for looting. I think there's there needs to be maybe certain weapons that'll appear at certain point in the match that everyone kind of gets like an alert, like, hey, this really high level weapon is now appeared like a legendary. I don't think we
Oh,
have any
cool.
like a gold, exotic weapon, and then that incentivizes everyone to go after it. That's more rare loot than what you're probably already carrying to get out with.
Yeah.
So
That kind
that'd
of
be a
goes
cool
back to like
idea.
Halo 3 power weapons.
Yeah, yeah, like that.
Yeah, like, oh
Yeah,
man, the rocket launchers spawned on the map, like, and everybody knows where it is,
yeah,
right? That's a cool idea. I wouldn't mind seeing them try that out to see if it fits.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's something that, like, all right, let the community mess with that and then iterate after it's, got some feedback on it, because it
hmm,
sounds like it could work, but at the same time, if it, I could see it, if it's not balanced, like it could be abused, and okay, you could say that about everything. So I'm not gonna
yeah. I
lean. I'm
think
not.
maybe if there's a certain amount of people still left alive, then that feature activates. Let's say, like, oh, you guys are
Oh,
like the last 10.
like a
All
top
right.
three situation.
Yeah, yeah. And now
Yeah,
there's a reason to go after that item. Like, all
that's a
right,
good
it's like
idea.
that's the top 10. All right, let's all go after it.
Yo,
And that kind
that
of
okay.
forces everyone to go after it.
So I would add to that, if we're gonna do that, let's make it kind of a random spawn.
Yeah.
Well,
But
because
everyone
on
gets a ping or something saying, hey, the item spawned.
oh, you want a
It's
waypoint, so saying it's
not
here.
maybe a waypoint, just a general direction. So everyone kind of
Okay.
gets an idea of where in the section it is that
Okay,
everyone
maybe
starts to
it's
go
in
and find
the
it.
like at the bottom of the map, it'll say like what part of the map you're in, like
Yeah.
what region of the map. Like
Yeah.
maybe it
But it won't
says,
tell you
"Hey,
exactly where it is.
heavy weapons spawned in the silos or something,"
Yeah.
and you got to go
Yeah.
find it. That's
Yeah.
a cool idea. I really like that. That would be sick, man. Because yeah, if you're in like a top three situation and then boom, it's like, you know, alert, legendary spawns in the silos, and it's like, and then
Yeah.
what if you're right by the silos? Oh man. But then, then you
And
get
then if
someone
you got
like
a bunch of
me.
stuff already, you're like, "Ah, do I wanna risk
Yeah,
it?" Like,
yeah.
"Ah, what do I do?"
Well, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna get somebody like me. Yay! It's right next to my feet. I pick it up, but I'm trash. So it's
Yeah.
like, what good did
You
it
gotta
do
watch out for
me?
the really good guys who are really quick with the shotties and the snipes,
Whew.
man.
And we
There's already
got,
a lot of those guys.
yeah,
So,
we got some of those, man. So, all right. What about what's your prediction for if they're gonna? Do you think they're gonna open it up to the public or more people? If so, how many? Because
for this snapshot
with 7.
with 7, well, it seems like they're already gonna open it to the public for people to attend the event. I don't know if it'll be open for the public for this snapshot. I'm thinking if not 8, at least by snapshot 10, depending how everything's looking by then.
Mm,
From here to maybe 10, they'll start opening it to the public, or maybe at least a closed beta for people who
mm,
aren't variants, just to start to get more people in. And I think by then, that's when we start seeing more of the optimization, and all that other stuff. That's when they really start working on making sure the process is smooth, make sure the looting is smooth, the movement's a lot
mm.
smoother,
Yeah,
the climbing, the verticality, all that. Because it's fine now, but obviously it's still got a long way to go. But I think by then we'll start getting some more people into the mix.
yeah. Rob was saying like he feels like 24 is their year of refinement, whereas
Mm,
23 is the year of expansion. So I could see them going all out with 7 and then spending the next 12, 14 months on just polish and getting the game feeling good, and like you said, getting it ready for like
Yeah.
a beta release perhaps.
And even if by the end of next year, at least maybe early access or something like that, at that level, it's not a full game yet, but even at that point, it's still a lot more playable than it is now, and more people can get their hands on it.
Yeah.
That could work. I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Do you think we'll have any new gadgets for 7? And if so, what do you
Um,
think they'll be?
I would like to see different kinds of grenades.
Okay.
Um, maybe like an EMP type of grenade, or maybe like a gas, because we have smokes. Maybe like a gas grenade.
Ooh, yeah.
As far as weapons go, you know what I was thinking, but then I don't know if it'll work for a game like this. At one point, I was thinking about suppressed weapons, but I don't know about that because then that can get kind of wild, kind of quick.
I
Uh,
I
but yeah,
mean,
maybe like a boots that make you jump a little higher to get to a higher level than you normally couldn't by jumping normally, something like that, like a little boost. But as far as gadgets go, no, I haven't really thought about that
I
much.
wouldn't
I've
be
been more on the
surprised
weapon
if
side.
we get a grappling hook or a wingsuit, because those are the two that have been talked about the
Mhm.
most. I think Rob has said that the wingsuit probably wouldn't be ready for 7.
Yeah.
But you never know, man. These guys and gals at Midnight Society, they love to grind, and they according to Rob himself, they like to tell Rob to like go kick rocks, we're doing this. You know what I mean? Like which I
Like, I'm the
love.
boss here. What's going on?
Yeah, I love the passion in this studio, man. Cause like for real, they're like Rob would be like, guys, it's okay. Like we can take breaks. Like we don't have to do it. And they're like, shut up, Rob. We're making this. We're doing it. It's like,
It's
I
funny.
mean,
Hey, but the passion's there, man. That's what the whole team's for.
it's
They
so
they
cool,
pick the right
man.
people for the job. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. But
Well,
wingsuit's a good idea. Yeah, I like that.
as is with yourself and plenty of other of the Dead Drop community, I think us as a community, we reciprocate that energy very well, and like I said, creations like yours are a prime example, and why I do these shows is to show, hey, you know what, man, like I want to give the community a chance to like meet you guys and gals and see what creations y'all are making, and that way, you know because it just makes the whole experience better. And I think it's only gonna grow as this game grows. And man, you guys and what y'all are creating is just got me so excited. Um, where so we're wrapping up. We're a little bit over time, but
Okay.
what where can people find your work and support you?
Right. So I'm at It's Metamora on Twitter. My link tree to everything else is on Twitter. My YouTube, uh, Twitter, Instagram. I do have some songs that I've done. It's not synthwave. I have one album that's synthwave and some other just passion projects that I did that's on Spotify and Apple Music. The links to those are in the link tree as well. SoundCloud as well. Everything's on that link tree. God bless link tree. It does wonders for me. So just find me at It's Metamora, and I just want to thank you again for having me, man. I've been really stoked, and this has been great. So
Yeah,
it's been
no,
great for
man.
me to see all my other friends be on this, and so for you to ask me, I was really happy
No,
about it. So I
hey, look,
appreciate
it,
it.
it it's my pleasure, man. And this goes out to all the Dead Drop community. If you want to come on the show and just talk Dead Drop, or whether you're creating stuff for it or just enjoying the game, everybody's welcome. I you know, it, I guess I would say, thanks to you two for agreeing to do it, and everybody else that's been on the show. It's really kind of an honor to provide this to the community and get you guys to be a part of it. So, and same thing with the development team. Shout out to Midnight Society for all the support they've shown, and to the developers that I've had on so far, and looking forward to have many more in the future. We're all looking forward to Snapshot 7. I'm going to be live in attendance there. I know a lot of other variants will be there, and members. And right now, for the viewers and listeners, if you are interested, they just opened up tickets to the public to attend the event. I think they're like $10 a person. If you have the means to make it out there, we'd love to see you there. Also, if you want to get involved in the Deadrop community and all the ongoings of Midnight Society and what they're doing, please consider joining the Discord. This is one of the best communities in all of gaming, hands down, no question. It's an honor to be a part of, and we really appreciate everyone's involvement. So that's it for us today. Metamora, again, thanks so much for coming on the show and sharing your music and your projects with everybody. And shout out to Mayor and the live action that he's doing, and all the rest of the community members. So that's all we have for today. And until next time, we will see you in the tower. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye, guys.